Jeskai deck, which kind of you saw it slicing, dicing, doing all these different things. Never really playing as a control deck so much. Just slamming haymakers left and right until the opponent tapped out.
If anything, that's how I prefer to play my games of Magic. I love to just put the big hitters on the battlefield, turn them sideways, and hope the game's over. And I'm going to go on a limb and say that you also like casting big 6/6s and turn them sideways and hoping the game is over by increments of 3. But we've got a sort of backup feature match for you all. Let's get down to that, where we've got, I believe, Mardu Energy versus Jeskai Aggro. It says aggro on my list. It definitely isn't aggro. It's Jeskai control. So we're going to see more Wrath of the Skies potentially hosing another deck here. We're going to have Robert versus John. I really love these Mardu lists. I love how we've kind of gone from the Boros version, splashing in some key cards like Fatal Pushes, Fort Seizers, even seeing what's the Planeswalker, the 3-drop Planeswalker that's missing my mind. Obnixilus. Obnixilus has been a really, really cool card as a 3-drop as well.
Yeah, that one in conjunction with a Johnny in particular. You sack the cat, you flip a Johnny, have the two Obnixiluses that add as red permanent, so a Johnny dealing damage, and they can both make devils first. So they make devils, then a Johnny makes a cat and shoots something for some giant amount of damage. Like you build a wide board very quickly. Plus, if you have Ocelot Pride going, you make a token Obnixilus, that makes a token, and then you're going to get to City's Blessing right away, and then you get another Obnixilus and another copy of all the devils that you made. Like you really get to go off. You're a Mardu combo deck.
Ocelot's Pride has been so good in the current meta. Like other deck, I play a lot of Boros at the minute. I think Blood Moon's in a really good position. The fact that I can turn 2 Blood Moons makes me feel great half the time. But you really do get an extra wheel to your house when you do be able to splash black in here. But we're going to see Gravak Discharge end of turn. It's going to take that Ragavan off the battlefield. And then we get to untap on Robert's side. Lots of options. See what we want to go with. This is a more traditional build. Having a quick scan of it, I don't see any null drifters, don't see dress downs. It is very much stock at this point when it comes to Jeskai control.
Yeah, and Robert's the name who, if you've watched Magic coverage really at any point over the years, you've probably seen his name and you've probably seen him playing a control deck. He is a control main, often making deep runs, and this is his specialty, and you kind of see why that is as you watch him navigate these games.
I always say that about like great control players. I'm like, there's people that play control, and then there's control players, and you can really tell the difference when you watch them. All these micro decisions, because it has to lead up to them getting the 2-for-1s at the right point, and then knowing when to turn the corner. It's an absolute skill that needs to be mastered at different opportunities. But John on the left side here, shocks in that Godless Shrine, giving us the black mana that we need for potentially maybe a flash spell that costs 2 mana. Could have no idea what that is, but maybe Robert's going to have an idea and be able to play around it.
Yeah, John, also a name who him and his brother Joseph, staples of these events over on the West Coast, and you often see at least one of them, often both, making deep runs there as well. So no surprise to see him there on day 2. And yeah, you have these tournaments which already are like pretty small, pretty stacked, and then you get to the day 2 cut, and it's just a murderer's row of good grinders left and right.
That's what I want from, especially tournaments that I'm doing casting of. Not when I'm playing in it, I don't want that, but when I'm casting it, I just want to see the best of the best going head to head. Here comes another Surveil land. Chat's asking, do we think Mardu's better than just straight up Boros at this point in energy, or let's say moving forward in a no Nardu world?
It's tough. I think Blood Moon is a really big draw to just straight Boros, and you have to like the simplicity of, well, hey, I have everything I need already just in these 2 colors. I get a nice clean mana base, but you get into black, and I think the Bowmaster is a great pickup. Thought Seize is a sideboard card, and then even if you're not fiddling around with Obnixilus or whatever, just if you're doing the Goblin Bombardment thing, which a lot of people have been drawn to as well, the black cards really help to turbocharge that. So I think that's, if I was playing a deck in this space, that's probably where I would look. Not getting too fancy with the Obnixes and Warren Soul Traders or whatever. I think mostly sane Mardu with a lot of Bowmasters and Bombardments is where I'd look.
I love Goblin Bombardments in this list. I think they are amazing. This is game 3 of the match, ladies and gentlemen. So everything is on the line for both of these players. And just passing the turn back again, we have the option of going Flage this turn using all our mana up, or and then leaving up 2/2 next turn, but deciding to hold up another Orcish Bowmaster. And the good thing about Orcish in these sort of decks is we can, do what we did last turn, end of turn, play it, you counter it, you're now tapped down on your blue resources, and now, I can deploy my threat. But here is probably one of the best things you can do with 4/4 mana in the format that is Magic the Gathering Modern. A One Ring.
The One Ring. Or, I mean, you get to play 4 of them, but it's still the One Ring,
The One Ring. Well, look, Posty gets to say the One Ring. The rest of us mere mortals, we get to have a flavor of them. You got any particular favorite art of this card?
See, I'm a fan of just the OG. I think that art looks really nice, especially the extended art version like that. That's my jam. This one is fine, and I guess this one is more like Mount Doomy or whatever if you're coming here from the lore. But that one has the kind of the fire to it, literally and metaphorically.
Chat, let me know what's your favorite One Ring art out there. I must say I own the Justine Jones ones. Shout out to Justine, great artist. And I have 4 of those cards. And as I said, I like the craziest art to every card that I could find. As we pass the turn back, end of turn is going to be Surveil. We do not want that at A for Hub. So now if we've got a 4th land, we can double spell if we've got double 2-drops here. I know one of them is an Ajani, and we'll talk about that, especially once that hits the battlefield, because that card's great. But that looks like a card I haven't seen in these decks before, and that's a Graveyard Trespasser in the hand. Pioneer staple, but now a modern staple?
Yeah, it's interesting. This one has been creeping into a lot of Mardu lists online lately, and it's decent against various like Murktide decks, the Glorious decks. But you do wonder, like, is this really the best I can do for 3 mana in all of these 3 different colors in Modern? But it's a trend that's catching on, and we'll see if it holds up over time.
You also see Goblin Bombardment, Ajani, and Flage, and like Goblin Bombardment is normally my go-to card. If I can slam it on the battlefield and know it's going to resolve against a removal-heavy deck, I'm taking it all day long. The problem is against these Jeskai decks is they have Wrath of the Skies, which also deals with my Goblin Bombardment, so it feels a lot rougher. Here comes the Ajani. Solitude is going to deal with that. No, Subtlety, sorry, is going to deal with that. So it's going to put it back on top of our deck. 1 damage from the ring is going to be dealt. Now, of course, every time we do tap that 1 ring, we will take extra damage while Orcish Bowmaster is on the battlefield. Where do you want to go from this, from Rob? Wrath of the Skies would be huge here. We've got the energy, so it could just be a 2-mana Wrath if needs be while holding up counter magic. I'm now seeing a new trick that I want to do with my cards when I play Magic. How do I spin a card with 1 finger? Look how cool that looks.
Remember the fidget spinner days when Aetherworks Marvel was everywhere?
Yeah,
simpler times.
That was great. I loved it back then. Flage is going to come down. 3 damage gained. Orcish Bowmaster. Oh, in fact, no damage is going to be gained because the Orcish Bowmaster can be sacked in response. But it is off the battlefield, which means we get to go 2 cards deeper for Robert here. Looks like we've got 3 land and plus a spell. Didn't get a good look at what the spell was, though.
I think it may be another. Is it another ring?
I think it might be another ring.
So this is where for John, you start to try adding up to 12. Basically, it's like, all right, well, I can attack for 2, and then every creature's 1 damage with bombardment, and then if I can, let an Ajani, that's 2 creatures, and then Ajani can do, and you try and work out how. Okay, if he has nothing, this is how I can get up to exactly that threshold that I need, because otherwise you really are under the implied threat of, well, Flage is coming back, Wrath of the Skies is going to do something. But this is where Trespasser maybe is at its best, right? Like eating Flage, dealing some immediate damage. And, well, now, I mean, can't bank on the Flage anymore. So this 1 ring or the next 1 ring is going to have to find something.
No, well, the best mechanic in Magic the Gathering, especially for us commentators, is brought to us courtesy of Graveyard Trespasser. It is, of course, the Day-Night token. This sticking to this as a commentator it's just everybody's favorite. It's a great mechanic to keep track of.
Look,
so
I I wouldn't even mind if there was a werewolf deck where there were 20 cards that have this mechanic, because at least then you know that's what the game is about. But every time it comes up, it's because there are 2 cards in the 75 that have this, or like the one Outland Liberator or something.
Yeah.
And now both players have to track it for the rest of time, and it's just, it's a mess.
It's it's definitely a mechanic for sure. We're gonna go fetch it. We're gonna go get another Surveil land. We're gonna have a little look. Obviously, the game plan that Robert probably had of getting back the Flage from the graveyard is now off the table. So with just 2 land in hand plus another ring, is how can we set up? I gotta guess another ring is going to come down next turn, trying to stabilize the board a little bit more.
And this is why arguably the One Ring is such a flavor fail, right? Is that often the best thing to draw into with your One Ring is another One Ring, just a legend draw, another ton of protection, keep the card draw chain going. And that's true, in the combo decks that have the ring, and the Tron decks, and then also in these control decks as well.
I've seen Young Dingo playing the One Ring in Boros aggro energy decks. I was speaking to him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, it's just better than what's the free drop enchantment that makes the Goblin Shaman token? Fable." He's
Fable?
Like,
ever heard of it?
It's just a better Fable card. I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it. I did not register it in my deck I played yesterday, but I'm always any chance I got to play the One Ring, I will take that opportunity. I think it's great. Card went to the graveyard, and I think from that real corner that we can see there, that is a Wrath. Not Wrath of the Skies, a Supreme Verdict. I suppose we should call it Supreme Verdict, not a Wrath. It is basically a Wrath at this point.
A board wipe, as the kids say these days.
A board wipe. I'm not down with the kids. I am fully boomer as I'm edging towards 40 year by year. Celestial Purge was found though, and a Wrath of the Skies. Now that's good. That can get the Goblin Bombardment off the battlefield as well. We have the 2 energy, so it would only cost us 3 mana, 2 for the spell plus an extra 1 to get the 3rd energy we need, and we can hold up the 2 mana we need. We need to hold up like counter magic if we want to go that route. Problem is, 6 life is all that Robert is at. That means we take another 3 from the One Ring if we take this turn off. Is that the way we want to go, or do we want to deploy a new ring this turn?
Yeah, he might be. Let's see. We could be trying to set up for a turn where he plays a ring, gets a protection shield, and can then Wrath immediately, and maybe not even activate the ring at that point because the life total is going to be a problem. But all right, we're starting off with, I believe that's Celestial Purge on Goblin Bombardment, and now, okay, here's Wrath of the Sky. So nice sequencing there, because you go for the Bombardment first. John doesn't want to lose his whole board in response, but if he has a Wrath, then he's going to lose it anyway. So that 1-2 punch is going to take care of everything.
This Flage is going to do something.
Yeah, the Flage card doing some nice work for both players here.
Flage, if the life totals are correct and Robert's at 6, Flage is going to do 3, and in that One Ring, it has got 3 temptation counters on it. So this could just be over if there is no instant speed ways of gaining life. Normally these decks play some number of solitudes in the deck, so maybe there's a line where we can subtlety, solitude our own subtlety, but then it's not going to go too well if that happens. That will still only keep us at 1. But everything to play for at this point. Just looking at the hands, giving a little. It's not a grin at this point. It's kind of okay, sure, go to 3. And I guess with Flage, it's also going to go to, it goes to the graveyard. Great. It means it's another turn that's going to come back next turn. A lot of work to be done. Upkeep, draw 4 cards, hope for the best. Are those 4 cards enough, or are we going to see the handshake? It is going to be a handshake, and we are going to say John Clark taking this one down. Congratulations. Advancing 1 step closer to today's top 8.
And getting that Street Fighter style winner graphic, that honestly the biggest advance in any gaming coverage in years. And we live in the future, Will. Like this is we didn't have this back in the day, No,
but we didn't have cameras back in our day, dude. There wasn't phone cameras weren't a thing. I think back. I mean, you were playing.
I'm not quite that old, but in any case, we can reminisce about the before times off air. In the meantime, we will cut a break for about 10 minutes or so. We'll be back around I guess 3:30 our time, 12:30 Pacific time. Either way, in about 10 minutes for all of you good folks out there with round 11. So don't go anywhere. We will be back before you know it.